Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, Dungeons & Dragons 5e as it happens, and the Drunken Master is our topic for today. It is not appropriate to grab furry animals and use them as nunchucks. For those of you who thought I was being serious, it is just a joke, just a joke. So if you turn to Xanathar's Guide, or if you have Xanathar's Guide to Everything, you'll know that there is a section in there on monks, and it talks about Way of the Drunken Master. Now, I like monks because I was involved in the martial arts for many years, and therefore it's one of the things I find quite exciting. So you need to turn to page 33 and 34 of Xanathar's Guide to Everything for that section on Way of the Drunken Master. Don't go and turn to those pages in the player's handbook, because it's not in the player's handbook. The basic gist of the monk is in the player's handbook, but this is it's the Masonic tradition that gets tacked on that you can pick at level 3. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Alright, now that we've got that all covered, the Drunken Master is an expert in deception and misdirection. You're not fighting a fool with no idea of coordination. This monk is highly coordinated. It just appears to be uncoordinated. Hitting a drunken master is a maddening task which proves very hard to do. Jerky, unpredictable flurries that humiliate a masterful foe. Erratic stumbling and parries. Yes. Many erratic stumblings and parries as it happens. Ducking, dodging, retreats, slipping blows. This is the Drunken Master way. This monk appears to be drunk, but they are far from it, although they probably might be indulging in some sort of liquor of some kind. So you get access to the Drunken Master Masonic tradition at level 3. And I don't know about you guys, but I always really loved the Jackie Chan Drunken Master films. I thought they were fantastic. It was one of my favorite things to watch, was Jackie Chan pretty much just doing his thing. Really, really cool, and I enjoyed it immensely. I think this is trying to duplicate that idea, because when we think about the Drunken Master, most people think Jackie Chan and the movies that he made. That's essentially what I tend to think of, and I'm sure many people are thinking the same thing. So there are a few things you get as the Drunken Master. Starting off at level 3, you get a couple of different things which are kind of a little bit odd. Honestly, I think it's really peculiar, actually. First off is bonus proficiencies. So you're trained in performance for dance and gesturing. That's like being a clown, gesturing at 3rd level. This has got to be a shock to somebody's system to suddenly find they now have access to the ability to dance and to act the fool or goat. It makes a lot of sense to get trained in brewer's supplies, so you can start up that endless supply of home brew and get it underway, so that you can continually drink yourself into the ground. But I know a lot of people will probably be quite upset by the fact that suddenly they have these bonus proficiencies that allow them performance skills, and it's not really what they were looking for. It certainly has a lot of flavor around it and how you use it in the game. It's probably going to be more useful to you outside of combat rather than in combat. Next, also at 3rd level, is the Drunken Technique. The Drunken Technique, essentially this is your flurry of blows. You use your flurry of blows and you benefit from the disengage action, and your walking speed increases by 10 feet. It's quite fitting. It's a nice addition to make the monk unique in this particular way. And it's all about sort of twisting and turning apparently, but what I find difficult about this particular aspect of it is, although it's allowing you to disengage, what are you going to do with that disengagement? I would imagine you're going to move around the front line to somebody who's a lot more dangerous and try to get into contact with them. Obviously, it would also allow you to get out of trouble if you needed to, but you're not going to get to go very far. Still, it's not too bad. You get to disengage as an action. It's all built into part of it. When you use your flurry of blows, you get to benefit from the disengage action. Doesn't mean it uses up your action though. Okay? Alright, so there's that one. So far, it's been alright. I wouldn't say it's fantastic in terms of some of the options they provide you with, but it's alright. That's my view anyway. Next, we get the Tipsy Sway. So you get two options that are really situational, and I kind of ask myself, where is the dodge? Now, the problem with building dodge into something like the Drunken Master is that you already have patient defense, where you can spend one key point to dodge, take the dodge action as a bonus action on your turn. Whereas I feel like it would have been useful at this point, particularly since Tipsy Sway is available to you at 6th level, that you get access to a reaction to take the dodge action. Would have been nice. And it wouldn't need to be tied necessarily to using a bonus action or a key point. It'd just be your reaction. I would have thought that would have been a better situation. Instead, we get what is essentially leap to your feet. So when you're prone, you can stand up by spending 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. Awesome. All right, I'm going to start my combat on my back. I don't think I will. And if I'm going to spend a lot of my combat on my back, I'm doing something wrong, or whoever's fighting me is doing something right. So I don't quite understand this. I spent many years in the martial arts, and I know what they're trying to duplicate. They're trying to duplicate the flip onto your feet when you're on your back, which I used to be able to do, which I can't do now. But for most people who understand a little bit about martial arts, usually you don't flip forward, usually you roll backwards when you go down because it's safer. You don't wind up walking into somebody's foot or fist. So it's all right, but it's really situational, and I feel like it would have been much more fun to build something else into it. Okay, redirect attack. This is the next part of Tipsy Sway. When a creature misses you with a melee attack roll, you can spend one key point as a reaction to cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice other than the attacker. So whoever tried to hit you and missed, you can't use it against them, that you can see within 5 feet of you. So they're essentially got to be within 5 feet for it to work. It's not going to work otherwise. So it's really dependent on being surrounded by enemies, or at least having 2 enemies engaged with you in melee attack. And of course, if you want to use it, you're probably going to burn through those key points pretty quickly. I would have liked to see something that was more about being able to fight on the ground and not suffering disadvantages from that. Often when you're making a melee attack against somebody who's prone, you get advantage on them. Being able to eliminate that would have been quite nice, and still being able to be on the ground if you get knocked down. And also it would have added a lot more to the whole feature, the Tipsy Sway. The Tipsy Sway, as I said, I feel like it doesn't make an awful lot of sense. What we're really setting the monk up for doing is the one thing they're not great at doing, which is dealing with multiple enemies. Anyway, moving on. The next one, we got past that one. This is the Drunkard's Luck. The Drunkard's Luck. It's a nice feature, but where is the option to get advantage rather than remove disadvantage? So Drunkard's Luck works like this. Starting at 11th level, you always seem to get lucky, bouncing back at the right moment. When you make an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, and have disadvantage on the roll, you can spend 2 key points to cancel the disadvantage for that roll. Yet again, it's really situational. How often are you going to have disadvantage on those rolls where it's going to come into play? So it's one of those features that we've got a whole lot of features that the monk can use, but you're really never going to get to use them because they're so situational. It would have been nice to be able to spend 2 key points to give yourself advantage on a saving throw, an attack roll, or ability check. Now that would have been great. That would have been quite useful. You wouldn't have been tied to having to wait for disadvantage to be attached to those particular dice rolls, and yet you are with Drunkard's Luck. So I don't really like it that much. I seem to be whining a lot. Am I whining a lot? I feel like I am. Anyway, next one is Intoxicated Frenzy. Intoxicated Frenzy is actually awesome, but the chances are that when you do use it, provided you can get to 17th level monk, the chances are that you are going to be fish food, absolute fish food after the first round of blows. Very likely you're going to wind up getting knocked out, because for it to work, it relies on you being in a group of enemies, not just having 2 enemies close by, but multiples. Well, I just don't understand that. So at 17th level, you gain the ability to make overwhelming numbers of attacks against a group of enemies. Awesome. When you use your flurry of blows, so it's got to be with your flurry of blows again, you can make up to 3 additional attacks with it, up to a total of 5 flurry of blows attacks. So that means potentially, given the right situation, you are going to be able to, at higher levels, do 5 attacks with your flurry of blows as a bonus action. Now that's pretty awesome. That's quite nice. Provided that each flurry of blows attack targets a different creature this turn. Oh, so here's the thing that I don't like about it, and that is you now need to be surrounded by enemies for it to work. So essentially you need to be able to move into combat, do your attack, and then get back out. Of course, you're not going to be able to do that because the thing that would allow you to do that requires a bonus action or an action to do, and you're using that for your flurry of blows. So essentially you're going to get absolutely plastered after you've let loose with your flurry of blows and hit 5 or more targets with these attacks. You're going to be pretty much squashed like a bug. And I don't quite get it. I know they were trying to deliver Jackie Chan as a sort of a playable option for people. And I think really what they did was miss quite a lot. Essentially missed the concept completely. There are a lot of things that could have been done better with this, personally. There's no mention of drinking alcohol to affect how you fight. And I just don't quite get that one, because when I was thinking about Jackie Chan, and he would drink a certain amount, and that would give him some a little bit of protection in some ways to getting smacked around, or at least, even if it gave you numbed the senses and gave you a bit of resistance to certain types of attacks. Of course, this is a problem because the monk sort of gets those sorts of things later on anyway. So, and there's ways of picking up resistances as it happens. But anyway, I still feel like this isn't an archetype that I'm going to see at the table. Although it's a great idea, I love the thematic idea behind it, mechanically it's just nobody's going to pick it up. They're just going to go with the standard monk options. That's my view anyway, which I think honestly is a really big shame. I would have liked to have seen something else, something much more interesting. Okay, so that's really all I had to say on Xanathar's Guide to the Way of the Drunken Master, which really doesn't feel like a Drunken Master to me. If you liked this video, please like and share it with other people if you found it useful or entertaining in some way. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel, hitting the bell button to be notified when I go live and when I publish new videos. Thank you for watching my video, the live stream. I know for a lot of people that can be quite difficult. and I do appreciate it, so thank you very much for showing up. I don't do Patreon, but down in the description you'll find affiliate links to Amazon, Book Depository, and stuff like that, where you can buy stuff online. I get a small commission. You pay the same price, just go through the link and buy what you want. Okay, that's essentially it. Look, start putting your comments in. I know already people are starting to type into the chat box for the live stream, and let's have a quick discussion. Otherwise, if you're not part of the live stream, the comment section is where you want to be. You want to go down there and have a little chat down in the comment section. Tell me what you think of the Drunken Master, Way of the Drunken Master. Did you like it? Did you think it was not very good? What didn't you like about it? I've told you what I liked and disliked about it. Generally, I just don't think it hit the mark for me anyway. And I think for a lot of players, it probably didn't hit the mark either. Now that we've covered all that sort of stuff, I'm going to say, type frantically, those of you in the chat box right now. And till next time, keep rolling those 20s.